Story 35. My girlfriend hit on my brother on the 4th of July. I had been dating my high school girlfriend, Chelsea, for 2 years. She's always been very friendly to my family, including my older brother, Rob, who is a couple of years older than me. Chelsea and I have been making plans to go to the local community college together in the fall, and looking for a small apartment that we can share closer to campus. Chelsea is very attractive and was a cheerleader for all 3 years of high school. We met due to our proximity, as I was an avid athlete in every sport I could do in high school. So we spent a lot of time around each other. On the 4th of July, my family told us to invite our close friends and significant others over for the barbecue, and Chelsea jumped at the invitation. We spent most of our time chatting with friends and family at the pool. Chelsea disappeared to the bathroom just as my dad started preparing to cook. A bit later, she returns, looks upset, and sits down. I ask her what is happening, and she says, "Nothing. It wasn't important." After we ate and talked as a group, my brother caught my eye and motioned for me to come into the house. He gets up and walks in, pausing at the door and looking at me. Chelsea is playing volleyball with some of our friends in the pool, so I get up and follow him inside. I could tell he was upset by something and seemed agitated. When I entered the house, my brother pulled me aside and told me that Chelsea had come into his room when he was changing and made a pass at him. I didn't know what to say because my brother was one of those rare people who never teased me or treated me badly as a younger brother. He was always the protective older brother. We were very close, and this didn't seem like a joke. Rob tells me that he brushed her off, and she left, giving him an open invitation to mess around but telling him they'd have to hide it from me. Rob laughed with her, thinking it was some sort of stupid joke she was playing, but he said she kept giving him winks and even blowing kisses at him. I didn't know what to say other than get defensive, saying he must be mistaken. Rob took me by the shoulders and told me he was not making this up and could prove it. He told me to go back outside, act like nothing happened, and keep an eye on Chelsea. I went back outside, sat down, and started chatting with some of our family friends who had come over. My mom started asking people if they wanted any pie for dessert, which had everyone focused on her. I was watching Chelsea discreetly. Sure enough, she smiled at Rob and winked at him. He laughed at her nervously, and she made a face like she was kissing him and even bit her lip. Rob smiled, got up, and went inside, and Chelsea made another excuse that she needed to use the bathroom again and followed him shortly after. I sat there waiting for about 10 minutes when Chelsea came out of the house looking angry and told me she wanted to go home now. I asked her why, and she said she didn't want to discuss it there in front of people. I told her that was fine and left to go get my keys as she grabbed her stuff. As I walked into the house, Rob waved at me from the hallway and pointed to his phone, then to me. He sent me something, so I nodded and gathered Chelsea to leave. When we got into the car, she started telling me that she was uncomfortable with staying at my place because she was chatting with Rob, and they were just joking around, and he accused her of trying to make a move on him and cheating on me. She started by saying that Rob was being a jerk when they were only playing around. I stopped talking while she was on her rant, and she finally noticed the look on my face. She then asked what I had to say about it, asking if I didn't believe her. I told her I didn't know, but I was sure we could get to the bottom of it and one-handedly opened the video Rob sent me. The video starts playing, and I'm not looking at it, just listening. The audio is playing a conversation between her and my brother. Rob had recorded the conversation without Chelsea knowing. He starts off by asking her if she really wants to hook up with him, then says something about my brother, me, would freak out if they were caught. She says that if they're careful, I'd never know. My brother said they didn't have much time and asked what she was thinking. Chelsea asks him if he wants oral, and he just laughs at her. As the audio proves Chelsea is a lying cheat, she starts freaking out. I was devastated by listening to her tell Rob that she would give him a BJ while I was out back eating pie. Rob then tells her no again in a loud voice and starts going off on her for being a cheater. It was a quick but ugly conversation, and Chelsea left, telling him I wouldn't believe him if it came down to her word against his. I dropped the phone in my lap as the audio finished. Chelsea just sat there crying, saying it was just a joke, and that she wouldn't have done anything. She said she and Rob had always been friendly and flirty. He just took it wrong. I drove to her parents' house and dropped her off. As I sat there waiting for her to get out of the car, she kept trying to reach across and hug me while trying to apologize, saying it was just a big misunderstanding. I told her we needed to talk, so we got out, and she followed me to her house. I did this to get her out of the car. She was gripping my hand, still sobbing. Her mom opened the door and asked what was wrong while we stood on the porch. I looked at Chelsea and then back to her mom. I told her simply that Chelsea tried to cheat on me with my brother and that we were breaking up. I forcefully pulled my hand out of Chelsea's and turned, walking away. I called over my shoulder to Chelsea, reminding her I had the video to prove the cheating. If I found out she lied to anyone, I'd send it to our friends. I went into total no contact with her. We initially chose the local community college because Chelsea wasn't accepted to any colleges I applied for. We planned to do a year, then transfer to our state university. Since Chelsea was out of the picture, I accepted an offer to a university I wanted, moving out of state and into the dorms. It's been almost a year, and I'm dating someone I met in one of my classes. Some friends told me Chelsea dropped out of college after the first semester. I came home for the summer with my girlfriend to introduce her to my family. My parents were taken with her, and Mom gave me the nod of approval. My brother laughed and said at least Shelly didn't look crazy. I had already told her the story of my crazy ex. We stayed for a week, then started our journey to see Shelly's parents. On the way to the airport, we stopped by my favorite restaurant for lunch before our flight. We were seated at a booth and told the waitress would be over shortly. When the waitress stopped at the table, she said nothing, so I looked up from the menu. Chelsea stood in her work uniform, staring at me with her mouth open. She looked back and forth between me and Shelly, then ran away without speaking. I was slightly surprised not knowing she worked there. Shelly commented that it was weird. I laughed and told her, "Yeah, that's my former girlfriend Chelsea. Apparently she works here." Shelly got a shocked look on her face and then started giggling. There was a commotion going on over by the greeters' podium, where Chelsea stood arguing with someone who looked like they might be the manager. She seemed to lose the argument and finally returned to the table to take our order. She was definitely in distress as she tried hard to be polite. She didn't acknowledge me and didn't say anything except asking what we wanted to drink. Her hands were shaking, and she looked like she was going to have some sort of meltdown. We both just said water would be fine. She turned and walked away. A little while later, a different waitress dropped by with our drinks. Shelly said that Chelsea was leaving the restaurant with her jacket and purse. I don't know what happened with Chelsea that day. She just left. We finished our meal and went to the airport. In a way, it was probably better for us since I would have been concerned about what might have been in our food if she had been forced to serve us. Anyway, that's the story of my crazy cheating ex. I only post new and unique content. Please like and subscribe.